Hannah Caldwell had always known hunger, but never this
Stop right
kind,
there.
the
I
kind
can't
that
accept
clawed at her stomach until it felt like fire. The
The
dust storms that tore
Gold
through her
isn't what
town
we
had
need.
taken
You
everything:
are.
her father's shop, her mother's health, and every crop that once waved high and proud in the fields. Now she walked the long, endless stretch leading toward Hollow Ridge Ranch, clutching the only thing she had left, her wedding ring. The last memory of a man she had lost far too early. The wind scratched her face as she approached the ranch's trading post, where rumors claimed the ranch hands sometimes bartered goods with travelers. When Hannah stepped inside, her legs trembled beneath her. The smell of warm bread overwhelmed her senses and nearly brought her to tears. She approached the counter, heart pounding, voice weak as she whispered to the old storekeeper, "I will trade this for food." She held out the gold ring with both hands, as if offering her last breath. The old man looked at it, then at her, and sighed deeply. "Miss, we don't need gold," he muttered. "We need workers, hands, people who stay." But before he could continue, footsteps echoed behind her, steady, slow, confident. Hannah turned to see a man in dusty boots, a clean white shirt rolled at the sleeves, sun-browned skin, and eyes sharp like a hawk, yet soft like dawn. Luke Ryder, the rancher's only son, stepped closer with a look of concern. He reached out, gently closing her hands over the ring. "Gold isn't what we need," he said, voice calm but powerful. "You are." For a second, Hannah forgot to breathe. Luke explained softly, "My father's ranch is falling apart. Half the workers left because of the storms. We need people with grit, courage, determination, and I can see you're still standing even when life tried to break you." Hannah didn't believe her ears. She had come prepared to trade the only symbol of love. She had left for one loaf of bread, not expecting someone to see worth in her. Luke continued, "You'll get food, shelter, pay, everything. Just don't trade your memories for survival. Work with us instead." Tears stung her eyes, but she swallowed them back as pride and desperation battled inside her. She wanted to run, to hide, to somehow earn her place instead of being pitied. But Luke's eyes held no pity, only a strange, unwavering belief in her. With a trembling voice she asked, "Why me? You don't even know who I am." Luke gave a small smile. "I don't need to. I can see enough. You walked here from 3 towns over with nothing but a ring. People who give up don't walk that far." Hannah lowered her gaze, fighting emotions she thought were long buried. He invited her outside, leading her past corrals, horses, barns, and acres of land stretching beyond the horizon. The ranch looked tired, worn, struggling but alive like her. He explained that his father had taken ill. The land needed tending, the cattle were scattered, and the workers were short-handed. But more than skill, Luke said he needed people he could trust. People who knew the pain of losing everything but were still willing to rebuild. Hannah's hands shook as she touched the ring still clenched in her fist. She hadn't realized how close she'd been to giving up. The setting sun brushed the land in gold as Luke handed her a piece of freshly baked bread from a basket someone brought out, saying gently, "Eat. You don't have to earn every breath. Some help is allowed." She took a bite, and warmth spread through her like a forgotten miracle. Luke watched her quietly, as if trying not to frighten her with too much kindness at once. When she finished, he offered her a small cabin out back, explaining she could start work the next morning. Still unsure, Hannah asked softly, "Why are you helping me?" Luke paused, then answered with a sincerity that rattled her bones. "Because you walked in ready to trade your memories, and no one should have to lose the last thing that gave them hope." Hannah clutched the ring to her chest, realizing for the first time that perhaps it wasn't a burden after all, but a reminder of how strong she had been to survive both love and loss. That night, as she lay in the tiny cabin with a full stomach for the first time in days, Hannah stared at the wooden ceiling and replayed Luke's words. "Gold isn't what we need. You are." No one had ever said she mattered, not like that. And somewhere deep within her, a spark she thought had died began to flicker back to life. Morning sunlight poured through the cabin window, warming Hannah's face and reminding her that yesterday hadn't been a dream. She dressed quickly in the clean work clothes folded neatly on a chair, clearly placed by someone thoughtful, someone like Luke. When she stepped outside, she found him saddling a horse, his movements precise and practiced. He turned when he sensed her presence, offering a gentle smile as if he'd been waiting, just to see whether she'd come out strong. "Ready for your first day?" he asked. She nodded, and he handed her a pair of gloves that looked almost new. The other workers eyed her curiously, some with doubt, others with cautious welcome. Luke didn't give them time to question her. He assigned her small tasks at first, feeding chickens, gathering eggs, cleaning stalls, simple jobs. But Hannah threw herself into them with a determination that surprised even her. She worked quietly but fiercely, wanting desperately to prove Luke right, to show that she wasn't a burden or a charity case. Hours passed, sweat dripped down her forehead, and yet she felt alive in a way she hadn't for years. Luke checked on her often, sometimes offering tips, sometimes simply watching her with an expression she couldn't decipher. When she finished her tasks early, he put her on a horse, teaching her to ride so she could help with the cattle. She was nervous, having never been on one before, but Luke rode beside her, guiding her hand when she trembled, steadying her when she lost balance. His calm presence wrapped around her like a shield. As the days turned into weeks, Hannah became part of the ranch's heart, mending fences, tending to sick calves, cooking in the evenings, and even helping restore the old barn with her surprisingly steady hands. The workers who had doubted her began to seek her help. She laughed again, something she hadn't done since her husband passed away. And Luke, he noticed everything. He noticed how she hummed softly when working, how she always gave the horses apples before eating herself, how she saved every coin of her wages in a small wooden box as if rebuilding her life, piece by piece. What she didn't notice was how often he looked at her, with a mixture of admiration and something deeper, something he tried to hide. One evening, after a long day of cattle herding, they sat on the fence, watching the sun melt into the mountains. Hannah touched her ring unconsciously, and Luke glanced at it with unspoken curiosity. She whispered, "It's the last memory I have of my old life." Luke nodded. "Then keep it. Memories aren't chains, they're reminders that you survived." She felt her throat tighten. "Why do you always know what to say?" Luke shrugged with a shy smile. "Maybe because I see you clearer than you see yourself." She didn't know how to respond, but she felt something shift, something warm, terrifying, beautiful. Days later, a violent storm swept across the land, scattering the cattle and threatening the entire ranch. Everyone scrambled to save what they could. Hannah didn't hide. She rode straight into the chaos, helping Luke rescue the calf herd from the ravine. When the storm finally died, Luke found her soaked, breathless, holding a calf in her arms like a child. "You could have died," he said, voice shaking. "So could you," she replied. Something inside him broke. He stepped forward, cupping her face gently as thunder rolled in the distance. "Hannah, don't you understand?" he whispered. "You came here trying to trade your ring, but you gave us something gold could never buy." She swallowed hard. "What did I give?" Luke's voice trembled with emotion. "Hope, strength, life. You didn't just help this ranch, you healed it." Hannah felt tears slip down her cheeks. Luke wiped them softly with his thumb. "Gold isn't what we need," he murmured, repeating those words that first saved her. "You are." And before she could doubt, before fear could steal the moment, Luke kissed her, slow, warm, full of every unspoken feeling that had grown between them. She didn't pull away. She didn't want to. Life had taken so much from her. But here, under the stormlit sky, life gave something back. In the following months, Hannah became more than just a worker. She became family. The ranch flourished. Luke's father recovered,
and that's
word
final.
spread of the woman who had once traded
I need to
despair
buy some food.
for purpose.
I'll trade you this
and
ring.
One quiet
Stop right
morning,
there.
on the
I can't
same
accept
porch
that.
where she had been given a second chance.
I tried to trade my
Luke
ring for
knelt
food.
before her, not
Gold
offering
isn't
gold,
what we need, you
not
are.
asking for anything but her heart. "Stay with me," he whispered. "Not because you need us, but because now we need you." Hannah looked down at the ring on her finger, the symbol of her past, and then at Luke, the man who became her future. For the first time since the world broke her, she felt whole again. She took a deep breath, smiled through her tears and whispered, "Yes."